finally time. You guys have been asking for it for a minute. Here's my entire footwear collection. What's going on, everybody? My name is Owen and welcome back to another video, specifically probably the most requested video I get on a regular basis, which is to showcase my footwear collection. I want to quickly thank you guys so much because I think by the time this video goes live, we just hit 50,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is insane. I have been making videos for years now and I never foresaw hitting 50,000 subscribers. I'm not a big numbers guy, but it's just a crazy milestone. It's something crazy to think about. 50,000 people is kind of nuts. So thank you to everybody who watches the videos, shares it, and likes it, comments, whatever. It really means a lot to me, and yeah, I love you guys. Enough of that. Let's get into the footwear collection. The last time I did a footwear collection video was in 2021, so it's been a minute. It's grown and changed a lot. However, there are still a few pieces that have maintained throughout the years and will probably never leave the wardrobe, honestly, because they're so iconic, so hard to come by. So let's get right into it. Let's start off with a classic, which is an item that I showcased again a couple of years ago, and I've had it for a very, very long time. These are my vintage pair of 1965 US Army combat boots. Currently there's no laces in them because the laces are either being used on something else or they're just missing. I don't really know. I don't wear these anymore, to be honest. I've since retired them. They've kind of just been collecting dust. They're very iconic. They have been resold, so I did have a Vibram Montagna sole put on them, which is why they look a little bit different than most Vietnam era combat boots that you'll see on eBay. Usually it's a flat sole, but I wanted a nice lug sole. These shoes have been through so much. When I got them, they're pretty much brand new. They're almost dead stock, and the leather has chipped away beautifully and created this really awesome patina over time. And this shoe is what directly inspired this next shoe that I'll showcase, which are the Somar grunt boots. This is my clothing brand's first ever footwear release. I believe we did in April of 2023. This is a huge milestone achievement for me because it took so long to do this item. Obviously doing footwear is so different than doing clothing. I think it took about 2 years in total to perfect the boot and get it to from the very first stage to the final product. And you can definitely see the resemblance between this pair and the combat boots. This is my personal pair. I do have a dead stock pair as well, just sitting on ice for when I eventually retire these guys. One of the major changes between the Vietnam era combat boot and the grunt boot is the tongue construction. It's a one-piece trifold tongue that kind of folds over in on itself to grip your ankle. There'll be no movement, and the laces wrap around. It's got a double cap toe. It's got a nice custom lug sole. This is something that a lot of people want me to restock. I honestly don't like doing restocks that much, but I know you guys really, really want a restock, so we'll see. It might be a V2 of some sort instead of a restock and just make the shoes even better. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, those are the grunt boots. Let's jump up here. These are a wild, wild pair of shoes. I have not worn these very much just because of the nature of the actual shoe. These are the Rick Owens Beetle Bozo boots in the pony hair. I don't know which collection this is from, but it's from the past couple of years. Got them secondhand, pretty much brand new. They are massive, massive shoes. I mainly got them for kind of collecting purposes. I bought these knowing that I wasn't gonna wear them a whole lot, but it's a item that I knew was gonna hold value. Such a crazy piece for Rick to drop. Obviously he's dropped a lot of crazy stuff over the years, but this is such a unique pair of shoes. I honestly really like long hair pony hair or long hair cowhide items. There's so many in my wardrobe. I'm a big texture person, and seeing the long hair on a pair of boots is so cool to me. It's sort of like a Chelsea boot design with a super bulbous toe, and then it does have the signature Rick Owens tractor sole, which is that right there. This is featured on a lot of Rick Owens footwear. That is the beetle bozo boot. Comes in a bunch of different colorways too, but obviously had to go with the black. And also the resale on these has just skyrocketed since my getting these. Hopping over to a sneaker, this is one of my favorite sneakers in my entire wardrobe, and it's one of the most unique ones as well. These are the Maison Margiela Skull Gat replicas from 2008. These are a limited 1 out of 100 pair of shoes. They came in the Gat variant, and they also came in a cowboy boot silhouette. It's asymmetrical. On one shoe, it'll have this like skull motif design that wraps around the entire upper of the shoe, and the other one will be fairly plain. I'm a huge fan of asymmetry when it comes to like putting together an outfit, and this is just asymmetry to the max. I wore these a ton over the summer. They got so much wear, and I kind of go through like a rotation of shoes. So like I'll wear a shoe non-stop for like a month, and then I'll just put it to the back of the wardrobe and move on to something else for a month. That's generally how I go about putting together outfits, honestly. I just fall into a very habitual state of putting on the same thing until I get tired of it. Moving up here, let's see what we got. These are a semi-new pair of shoes in the wardrobe. I got these like 3 or 4 weeks ago. These are sent over to me by my good friend Sangiev. You guys know Sangiev. I saw he's making a return on YouTube, but he did a collab with From the First, which is a footwear brand, and they did these really stunning cowboy boots. This is the Dante silhouette, and I think they did 2 colorways. Obviously I had to go with like this steel python bluish black gray colorway with the metal toe cap. Absolutely stunning. It also has a little steel, like what's it called, like heel cap. It's actually cowhide, but it has a python texture, like I guess embossed into it. But I love how the python texture is like symmetrical going down the front of the shoe. That's just like really good attention to detail, and the craftsmanship is crazy. We'll have to figure out a way to style these relatively soon because they're so sick. I think they're on the From the First website still right now, and I would highly recommend checking these out. The quality is insane. So yeah, thank you to Sanj and From the First for sending these over. Really, really stunning pair of shoes. Next up is another classic. I wore these for almost a year straight, I want to say. These are the Guidi 20 hiking boots. Very iconic and sought after pair of boots from Guidi. There's like a few silhouettes that I think are probably like their best. And this is probably my favorite out of all of like the Guidi silhouettes. It's like an extremely chunky hiking boot silhouette with eyelets that almost run all the way down to the toe, which is really nice. I love the paneling and construction. It's something that most people wouldn't actually notice until they have a pair in hand and go to put them on. But the toe kind of like wraps around on itself. The laces go around the shaft a couple times. I've worn these so much that the actual hook eyelets are starting to like curl out, and constantly like the laces are just falling down because of that. They go with so many pairs of pants. They're just like so easy to style, but they are extremely hard to find. Those are the Guidi 20 hiking boots. This next one has become recently like the most iconic shoe in my collection, I'd say. It's a pair of shoes that probably every single day I get like a message with an offer to buy them off me. These are the Adidas in collaboration with Yohji Yamamoto pre-Y3 from 2002 mules in the all black colorway. I did a little short form video about these, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, and it's like my most viewed piece of content ever. Some of the celebrities that are reaching out to buy these off me, crazy. I'm not gonna put them on blast though. This is a crazy pair of shoes, and I got them for stupid cheap. Nobody knew about this collab, Spring Summer 2002. A really amazing collection. All of the footwear from this collection are stunning. I actually do have 3 pairs of shoes from this collection, but unfortunately this is the only pair that I have in hand right now. I've got the other 2 on the way currently. Insane pair of shoes, and the colorway is nuts as well. The black on black is so hard to come by, let alone just shoes from this collection, period. You can see all the stitching detail in there. That's what the inside looks like. It's like a mule slip-on shoe with lots of intricate paneling detailing. It sort of has a Western floral design that wraps around the entirety of the shoe, done in leather, and it still has the 3 stripes on both sides. I guess we're just gonna work our way back. This next pair is a vintage pair of cowboy boots that I've had for a couple years now. These are some vintage ostrich leather cowboy boots. Ostrich leather is very iconic because of the texture. You'll see it has like this polka dot like pattern that wraps around the shoe. It's extremely soft. Each of these dots are pretty much like where the feathers were, I'm pretty sure. I wouldn't recommend buying ostrich leather like retail, so I had to go second route. I got them for such a good deal too. You can easily find ostrich leather stuff secondhand for relatively cheap. I'm a huge fan of the shape. It has like a nice rounded and pointed toe, like squared off like the sangiev ones are. So it has a little bit of a different shape, and I can see how these would be styled differently to the sangiev ones. And then yeah, other than that, it's a pretty standard cowboy boot design. I've used this for a lot of somar styling as well. Generally, when I'm buying clothes, I keep in mind that like this is something that I could use for somar styling if it's not like super brand heavy, because obviously you don't want to pair like brand heavy items when you're trying to promote your own brand's items. So you don't want to like pull attention away from what the attention is supposed to be on. So that's why I've been using these a lot, and they look great. Moving on to another pair of sneakers. This is another crazy pair of shoes that nobody really knew about, like the collaboration not too long ago. And of course, like Hypebeast and a bunch of other pages were like posting articles about these. These are the Puma Black Label Speedcat re-luxes, which is sort of like Puma's luxury label that they did, I believe it was in like the late 90s, early 2000s. It's super hard to find info about this collection that they did for a little bit. The paneling and construction is so cool and it's so unique. Puma honestly has some of the coolest collaborations from back in the day, and they're all super slept on. It's got a little Puma hit on the toe cap right there. It has sort of like a Samba Gat toe cap design, and then it has like a cross-stitched Puma swoosh on both sides. And then my favorite aspect though would probably be the leather treatment. So it's black leather, but it has like this tarnished look to it, where on like high points of wear, the brown will start to peek out on both shoes, which looks really sick. You'll see this feature come up in another pair of shoes too. But yeah, so happy I was able to find a pair in my size. And then another pair from the same collaboration. These are the King re-luxes from the Puma Black Label line. Different shape, and then also different detailing as well. One of the craziest details about this shoe would probably have to be the toe box. Hopefully the camera is able to pick up the perforated design that wraps around the entirety of the front of the shoe. It's so like microscopic in detail, but it looks so cool. And it also has this awesome stitching detail that runs through the like, Puma swoosh. I did have this pair resoled, so it doesn't have the original resole, but the other one's like completely falling off, so I had to do the resole. Again, very, very cool pair of shoes that I don't see anybody ever talking about. So yeah, Puma, maybe we do a little collabo, I don't know. This next pair of shoes is another recent acquisition of mine. I talked about these a couple videos ago. These are the Lemaire ankle boots from their most recent collection. Really stunning pair of shoes. It's a super simple and like minimal take on a cowboy boot design in this beautiful, beautiful calf leather. It's like so buttery soft, and they're extremely comfortable. I've worn them a handful of times, especially in the Somar Ahab denim campaign. They just pair so great with the Ahab denim, and also they don't like lean too brand heavy. They're not like super recognizable, so it's a perfect pair of shoes to use for that shoot. I got these through a deal I did with Farfetch, so yeah, shout out to Farfetch for that one. Let's move over to these guys right here. These are by one of my favorite new and like up and coming brands that deserves so much more attention. These are from the brand Demon, and these are the Poyana boots. Demon is an Italian footwear brand. It's run by my friend Alberto over there, and he has been doing amazing things with his label. Some of the most like unique footwear designs I've ever seen. This boot was like my first dip into the brand. I didn't know Alberto at the time. I stumbled across an article talking about the brand and decided to give them a try, and yeah, they're stunning. I love how the sole kind of extends off the back of the shoe. You can see how much it like overlaps. So cool, and I love the treatment on the leather as well. It almost has like a tree bark like texture on the upper, but still keeping in line with like the hiking boot design. It has like the hiking eyelets, and it is a Vibram sole as well. Just a crazy pair of shoes. The little sock liner. Yeah, these got a ton of wear. but I do have one other pair of shoes. These were recently sent over to me as like an early pair. These are the Demon Lovo boots. I did a whole breakdown on these shoes on my Instagram, so if you want to learn more about this shoe, you should definitely go check it out. But this is easily the most unique pair of shoes I have in my wardrobe currently. These shoes look like wolf claws, and Lovo means wolf in Venetian, so that's where the name comes from. It has like a hooked toe cap. It has an extended back heel. Amazing, amazing materials and attention to detail. I love what Alberto is doing. He is just absolutely killing it. So yeah, those are the Lovo boots. Hopping over to a vintage pair of shoes. These are easily one of my most worn pairs of shoes of 2023. These are a vintage pair of motorcycle harness buckle boots, whatever you want to call them. They have so many different names. This particular one is in a black leather, has a super tall shaft. As you can tell, it's probably the tallest pair of boots I have in my wardrobe. And it has a really sick brown sole. I love the actual shape of the shoe. Like when you have the right pair of pants on, they just look stunning. They look good with like slimmer pants, they look good with really wide pants, flared pants, you name it. This pair of shoes has paired so well with everything I have. That's why they got so much use in some styling for the Somar campaigns. But I did recently acquire another pair of motorcycle harness buckle boots that I'll talk about since they are coming up relatively soon. I'm gonna talk about some more Pumas again. These are the Puma in collaboration with Alexander McQueen Sprint lumber sneakers from either 2005 or 2006. I don't know if it was their first collaboration or their second one, but one of the most unique pairs of shoes I have. Again, Puma, their collabs go crazy. I love this hand-carved tribal-inspired pattern on the upper. This wraps around the entirety of the shoe, has a suede Puma check, and then get ready for this. The sole is insane. It's got like a hoof-like cutout sole on the bottom, has a little D-ring with the Puma Alexander McQueen branding on it. And this particular pair is actually a sample pair. They did do a final version of these, but I don't know if they ended up doing them in black. I have seen like a red pair floating around, but obviously these are way cooler. Yeah, it's just such a slept-on collaboration. Let me show you one more from the Alexander McQueen collab. These I've not shown off on the channel yet, so this is a world premiere. Now I actually don't know the official name of these because there's such little info on the internet to sort of like ID the exact model name. But this is also from the Alexander McQueen collaboration, and it does also feature the same hoof-like sole, which is really cool. But this particular one has a really awesome cutout leather, but this particular one has a mesh and leather sort of like laser cut spider web like upper that wraps around the front of the shoe. And then something that's like really hard to notice until you kind of look up close is the actual toe box design. It almost looks like toes, which is really cool. It has like an indent for a big toe that kind of like points out front. Really unique pair of shoes. I got these from Japan and I got them for a crazy good deal. So yeah, I'm always on the hunt for like really awesome, unique footwear designs. And this guy obviously had to get included into the collection. Unfortunately, you don't see unique footwear designs like this that are a really big fan of these. Let's move on to another pair. This next pair I've had in my wardrobe in some regard for years. I think the first ever pair that I had from this collaboration was in 2018, I want to say, and I had the tan colorway, but now I have the black colorway. This is the Hoka in collaboration with Engineer Garments Tour Ultra Lows. If any of you have a pair of Hokas in your wardrobe, then you know that these are extremely comfortable. Doesn't matter what model it is, and I don't know what they use to make their shoes so comfortable, but they always are. And this guy is such a chunky, like bulky pair of shoes. It has like a military kind of aesthetic going on. The high version of these shoes look like they could be like used in the military, honestly. I believe they came in 3 colorways, but you know I have to have the black colorway. Honestly, they don't get that much wear. They've kind of been collecting dust as of recent, but they're still really cool. This next one is a little bit of a controversial pair. These are the Yeezy 950 duck boots. This pair of shoes, I think, was like my first sort of like infatuation with fashion. I remember in 2015 when these came out, and I was not into clothing at all. I saw these shoes, I saw like the tan colorway, and I was like, wow, I have never actually wanted a pair of shoes before, or like some clothing before, that's like expensive or whatever, but I really want these shoes. And so, you know, saved my pennies and eventually I got a pair. I have no idea where the tan pair is, but they're somewhere out there. And then about 4 or 5 months ago, Adidas, even though they've completely fallen out with the Yeezy line, they just like restocked these shoes in a bunch of colors. I got the black pair and they're really sick. They look so great with so many different pairs of pants. I've always loved the duck boot design ever since I had like my LL Bean duck boots. I've just always been in love with like the shape and the like bulkiness of them, and like the toe box design, how it has like the ridges and stuff. I believe you can find pairs for like way under retail now. I wasn't sure if they were gonna like skyrocket or not. I probably should have held off, but anyways, yeah, let's move on. Taking a quick hydration break. All right, this next pair of shoes I've had for a few years now, and this might be the most valuable pair of shoes I have in my wardrobe. I think they are. In terms of like just straight value, these are the Christian Poell Pirate Buckle Harness Boots from, I believe, 1999 or 1998. It's obviously very hard to dig up some info on these shoes, but this was sort of like the other hybrid of the grunt boot design. So basically I married this shoe design with the Vietnam combat shoes to create the grunt boots. It's sort of like a cowboy boot mixed with a motorcycle boot mixed with a ski boot because of these clasps. So these clasps actually come apart like that, and you can open them up, and then you'll see the grunt boot DNA in there because it has a trifold one-piece tongue. So that's how you get your foot in, and then it closes like that. And this is like the most satisfying thing in the world when you get to close that. Really awesome pair of shoes. I've only seen like 2 or 3 pairs tops like ever, and one of them was actually dyed black. This is like an OG black pair. I haven't worn these in a minute. They do need to be conditioned because I don't want the leather to crack on them. I'm not like super into CCP anymore, but these will never ever leave the wardrobe. They're just so iconic and so hard to come by. Moving on to another recent acquisition of mine. These are a vintage pair of motorcycle buckle harness boots, whatever you want to call them. I got these from my boy Ty, and they are just such a unique pair of shoes. I believe the suede was originally brown, and then they've just been dyed black, but then the black dye has been worn down over time, so it's starting to reveal more of that brown, which is so cool. It's sort of like a rough out suede, so the actual suede texture is very like stringy and almost has like a distressed texture to it. This is probably my most worn pair of shoes in the past like 2 weeks, I'd say. It just goes with everything, and obviously I don't have a lot of brown footwear in my collection, so it's nice to switch it up a little bit and wear something a little bit out of the ordinary for me. Let's move on to the next pair. Another Rick item in the wardrobe. These are the Rick Owens Birkenstock collaborations. This is the Arizona model. Obviously had to have the long hair, pony hair version to go with the bozos. I just realized that the 2 pieces of Rick footwear I have are both in that same material. Kind of funny. But yeah, these are like a house slipper for me. These get a ton of wear, and they also look really cool in terms of styling too. I'm a huge Birkenstock head. I've had Birkenstocks for years. This is like one of my first like big boy purchases as well, because they originally dropped the collab and I overpaid by so much because I didn't think they were gonna like restock or anything. And of course they just kept restocking over the next few months, and I was like, well, I just lost a bunch of money, but they're back in the wardrobe. I sold that pair a long time ago, and eventually they found their way back in. Those are the Rick Arizonas. This is another pair that I've had for many years, another iconic piece of footwear for the channel. These are the Christian Poell tarnished tornado boots in this beautiful leather enamel treatment. The tornado boot is one of CCP's like most iconic footwear designs. It's extremely sought after, and this particular pair has this really unique leather treatment. It basically has 3 different leather textures. going on where some parts are suede, some parts are like a finished leather, and then some parts have this enamel coating on it. Very, very reminiscent of the Puma black labels. They have like a very similar treatment going on, which is really cool. I've had this pair in the wardrobe for many years. They don't really get much wear anymore just because I just haven't rocked them out in a while. The zipper starts on the back of the ankle and then it runs its way down to the inside of the shoe. This particular one has like the YKK zips, like the OG zips. It's from the Safe collection, which I believe is 2006, I want to say. I've clocked so many miles in these. I walked all around Paris in these shoes, probably like 30,000 steps a day, only wearing these shoes. They've been through the ringer for sure. Let's move on to some regulars. This is another one of my most worn pair of shoes. These are some custom Chuck Taylor Converse 70s that I pretty much whited out, and I've just been wearing them so much that they're disgusting now. People are always asking me for the ID on these, and I'm just like, they're custom Converse. You can just make them yourself. They're just like completely monochromatic white with like subtle black hits all around it. I think they're like 70, 80 bucks. I highly recommend just making a custom pair if you're looking for like the perfect Converse, because you get to change up all the little details and make them something very special. These have also been used a lot for somar styling, particularly for the G73 release in 2022. So yeah, I've had these for a minute now. Moving right along, these are my blacked out Vans slip-ons. These are one of my favorite shoes in my wardrobe because they're so easy to throw on and they're kind of like unexpected, I guess. Not a lot of people have. To like see this stacked up with all this is pretty jarring, but yeah, these get so much wear, and yeah, they're just plain black slip-ons. There's not really a whole lot to say about these. I think they're probably like $50, something like that, so they're extremely affordable too, and I usually crush the back of the shoe down when I wear these and kind of like wear them as a mule slip-on instead of just like a regular shoe. This next shoe is another recent pickup of mine, and I honestly don't know a whole lot of info about these, so maybe you guys can let me know down in the comments. But I just stumbled across this pair online and I thought they were so cool. They are probably a like soccer or football pair of shoes from Adidas in the 90s, I want to say. It's like a blacked out trainer silhouette that has this awesome like 3-stripe detail that just like cuts across the toe box, and it has like this flap over tongue. I'm a huge fan of the paneling and the leather. I've just never seen a pair of Adidas shoes like these, and I love just like having that toe cap stick out when I wear like baggy pants. If the camera can pick it up, the lacing structure is really interesting as well. It has like this interesting loop detail with a band that kind of like goes around the heel of the shoe or the ankle of the shoe. I don't know anything about them. So next up, these are like my actual hiking shoes. These I pretty much only wear for hiking purposes. These are the Nike ACG Mountain Flies in the blacked out colorway, full Gore-Tex upper. The only pair of ACGs I have. It's got the little ACG hit right there. They're so comfortable. They're so easy to walk in. I love the actual silhouette of the shoe. It's extremely unique. They're lightweight. The sock liner is really nice. There's no laces, so you don't have to worry about like your shoe coming untied when you're hiking. If you're ever on the hunt for like a hiking shoe, I would definitely look into checking these out. So next up are the dog walking shoes that are also insanely cool. These are the Keen Unique sneakers. I picked these up in Japan. Probably one of the most comfortable pairs of shoes I own. Up there with the Hokas, honestly. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, these might be more comfortable than the Hokas. Super affordable. They're sort of in between a hiking sneaker and like a moccasin sandal vibe because of the woven upper design. So you get to show off, like if you're wearing colored socks, which I don't, you get to show off the sock underneath. But because I just wear black socks, it looks like a regular shoe with this really awesome like lacing net system going on. Yeah, I have clocked like probably a couple 100 miles, if not more, in these shoes. And the next pair of shoes actually was sent over to me by Keen because they saw that I love these ones. These are the Keen Unique woven leather sandals. So very similar shoe to the previous one, except this is a sandal variant in all leather with a slightly different like toe box design. This one has like no suede paneling. It's just entirely woven leather, which looks so sick. This is not rope. This is leather. These are a little bit more expensive than the other pair because of that reason. Yeah, they're still really cool. I have been super into sandals as of recent. I don't know why that is and why I got into them in the winter, but that is the case currently. Thank you to Keen for sending these over. I'm gonna show 2 more sandals before I hop into some derbies, and then that is it for the video. These next ones are some just regular huaraches. They offer so much like styling versatility. If you wanna hear like the story time on how I discovered these shoes, just go back a few videos because it's a really funny story. Get so much wear. These get more wear than a lot of the shoes on this shelf system. It's a lot of brands that have like done their own version of this shoe, but at like a luxury price point for no reason. Like these should not cost $500, but some brands do charge that. So yeah, those are my huaraches. One of my favorite shoes in my collection, honestly. And then last up for the sandals before we get into the derbies, we've got my Birkenstock Bostons. As a Boston native, you know I had to go with the luxury version of the Birkenstock Boston. I don't know if you can get these shoes still anymore. This is like their premium leather variation that they released. I got these like 4 years ago, I want to say. So they've really been through the ringer, but I love the texture on the shoe. It's so unique. It's completely blacked out. And yeah, these are just really beat up as well. These have seen pretty much everything. Let's get into the final pairs of the video. All right, I've got 3 pairs of derbies. First up are these Raf Simons Autumn Winter 2008-2009, which is the Vandals collection. Double sole creeper derbies. Insane pair of shoes. One of the heaviest pairs of shoes I have in my collection. They are pretty much like a shoe on top of a shoe, and it has this really awesome like ridged sole design that wraps around the entirety of the shoe. They're honestly not that comfortable. Even though they are a size 42, they're still too big for me. So I should probably just get like another insole. Even though they are a size 42, they're just massive shoes in general. Like they are such an oversized pair of shoes, like stacked up with another pair that's the exact same size. It's kind of crazy how big of a shoe these are. Next up are my Oray Morgan derbies. Oray obviously is known for their footwear. If you're looking for boots and derbies in that like $200 to $300 price point range that are extremely good quality, this is the route you should go down. The Morgans have a double capped toe. This particular one is the smooth leather variant. I believe he did like a grained leather. He's done a few different colorways. And this one also has a back zip on it, so it's like really easy to throw on. Extremely comfortable. Like the actual insole itself is like extremely cushioned. Vibram Montagna sole, I want to say. And then it has like a hiking boot style eyelet design. It's a 4 eyelet derby. It swaps between these like hiking eyelets and some standard like steel eyelets. Yeah, I love the height on the shoe too. It has like the perfect level of chunkiness. Then the newest addition to the wardrobe, and one of my favorites, are also from Oray. These are the Stelvio derbies. This is extremely impressive. So Ray has done a horse leather derby. These are like on par with Guidi footwear. At the time of recording this video, I've worn them 3 days straight. So they're starting to break in nicely. They're starting to get some little creases in there. But yeah, this is like the derby I've been searching for, I feel like. The other 2, I don't really wear that much. I just feel like they haven't like suited my wardrobe perfectly. And I love the horse leather texture. It's so buttery soft. It's got a custom sole on the bottom, which looks so nice. And also I'm a huge fan of the eyelet design too, how it's like all hiking eyelets. Really sick. Ray, you just absolutely went crazy on these shoes. If you're looking for something that's on par with Guidi but not like $1,000, you should get your hands on a pair of these shoes. They're so worth it. That is it, the Stelvios. And that is it for the footwear collection. I am talked out of my mind. That took so long to do, but it was totally worth it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like down below. Share with a friend. Yeah, have a good rest of your day. See you in the next video. Later.